Welcome to Talk Cosmos, the show where Sue Minahan and her panel of guests bring you insightful conversations to awaken consciousness for soul growth. Come journey with us through astrology's energetic cycles and get ready to understand your path in the cosmic roots of the stars.
Hello, everybody. I'm Sue Minahan. This is Talk Cosmos, and today we're talking about the Aries point that astrology celebrates as World Astrology Day, but it's the spring equinox. The sun has moved into 0 degrees Aries. In fact, we're in it. It happened. And yet the transforming everything that we're doing, igniting strong powers, especially because we happen to be, I must say, within the eclipse season. We had our lunar a week ago. We're having our solar a week ahead. There's deep change. The cosmic archetypal blueprint is changing its signs as we speak. Yesterday was, or soon, depending on how you hear this, was another great event, which was a Venus star point when the sun and the moon, sun and Venus connect. That's a whole another thing that Ariel Gutman goes into, but it is at the close to the beginning of Aries at 2 degrees. Heart and you could say our soul are connecting. How many ways can the universe tell us that this is the start? This is igniting. This is we're on fire, but it's internal. A lot's internal. It's retrograde. With all this said, we're really, as a preface, just to give you the potency of the times that we're really in at the moment with this spring equinox, because it isn't always that we have eclipses. It happens to be the nodal relationship. All many wonderful forms that astrology can give us insightful ways to understand more of the dynamics. Let's look at vibrational astrology through our panel that we're ready now for the turning season.
Revealing fundamental core consciousness, manifesting through the lens of vibrational astrology frequencies for the season's energetic theme for the spring and fall equinox and the winter and summer solstice. This is the Turning Season panel.
I'm Sue Minahan, founder of Talk Cosmos since 2018. I'm an evolutionary astrologer, consultant, speaker, writer, vibrational astrology student, Dwarf Planet University graduate, Kepler Astrology Toastmasters Club charter member. I have a fine arts music degree plus a certificate in jazz. I'm an artist, musician, and certified color energy life coach. Especially, I love mythology and esoteric philosophies.
I'm Robert Pacitti, professional consulting astrologer and the visionary behind Deep Earth Astrology and the Deep Earth Astrology Tarot, a divination tool and teaching aid that integrates astrology, herbalism, and natural reverence. I specialize in vibrational and psychological techniques and infuse my practice with a deep connection to nature's spirituality. I'm currently the Grand Pendragon in the Ancient Order of Druids in America and the director of the Magus Gathering in Gore, Virginia.
And I'm Linda Berry. I hold a professional astrology certificate in vibrational astrology from the Avalon School of Astrology, as well as a Master of Science in Social Work and bachelor degrees in psychology, mathematics, and computer programming. I teach vibrational astrology courses in the School of the Astrology of Vibrational Energetics online. I created Frequency Finder, an add-on to Cosmic Patterns, Sirius, and Kepler software. Frequency Finder provides an in-depth astrological analysis of your astrology chart. As a vibrational astrology researcher, I moderate a vibrational astrology research group, am an international consultant, a published author, and the writer of a free daily blog, The Vibrational Astrology Diary.
As an ancient mathematician, Pythagoras' Music of the Spheres about vibrating stars and planets, the electrical engineer Nikola Tesla said,
If you want to understand the secrets of the universe, Think in terms of energy,
frequency, and vibration. Well, hello. Hi, Linda. Hi, Rob.
Hello.
Hey there.
How are you?
Yeah, and I'll add right now, since it came up in our conversation, get ready to hear at the middle of our talk about a new vibrational conference that Linda and Rob are putting together, and Linda especially about called Fractal Cosmos. It'll be on Labor Day weekend. So with that said, we'll dive right in, shall we? This panel, Turning Seasons, it focuses on the solstice and the equinox. The spring equinox is that threshold, light and dark, it's balanced. We're transformational experience as we rebirth. And this is only a quick reference of the antiquity. 3,000 years ago, and actually it was 5,000. It was 3,000 BC of Common Era. It's a tomb in Cairn, Ireland, that people would gather and share in this rebalancing and of light and bonfires. But what is vibrational astrology? It's planetary grouped patterns, their frequency, vibrations, and the beauty and advantage of vibrational astrology is that without these techniques, it's unseen in the natal chart because it expands beyond Ptolemy vibrations. In fact, it expands even beyond Uranian. It is really a fantastic method, and it's applicable to everybody, providing their chart, knowing just like what's their recipe. But within that recipe, there are these vibrations, and it speaks. Now, there are systems to find out about this. It's through Sirius, it's a Cosmic Patterns astrology program, and the software that Linda brought up, Frequency Finder, especially created through her education to create, that is critical also in finding this, and through her school. She's the only school that teaches this with certification, and we'll get to that too in the middle time. Meanwhile, here's a couple of books, and David Cochran did develop this in its intricacies, and he and Linda are continuing with their research, so it's very powerful. Here's a few. I won't go over them, but they're core energy definitions that have been researched through evidential research, meaning that thousands of charts in a database with, as researchers attuned to what to look for, look at these charts to find out, well, what are they really saying? Not me, but what's the truth of it? And there are energies that align to what we think, but also expand a more core essence. I find it very liberating because it doesn't get tangled up in all the analogies. It just says, hey, here's the facts. Now what are you going to do with it? So on we go. Briefly speaking, and as I go through this, because Linda has a great presentation about the themes, and I'm just giving a little bit of a preface. The equinox is when the sun at noon is directly overhead. It happens to be at 0 degrees Aries, and it happens to be in March between a few days. This year it's on the 20th. It means equal night. Relatively speaking, night and day are exactly the same. But it's a transitionary time, right? It's not like when the solstice is, it hangs out for 3 days. It moves. And that's a lot of what we're doing is action. So as I conclude from this portion, think of our theme, Nikola Tesla, who said, to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Thank you. Okay, now to Linda.
Good afternoon, evening, or morning, depending on where you are. Okay, now, the spring equinox, equal day and night. The thing is that, in reference to something Sue said a minute ago, well, first of all, we are transitioning from an emphasis on the dark and the night in the Northern Hemisphere to an emphasis on the day and the light. And in the Southern Hemisphere, this is reversed, and people are moving toward a time of greater darkness. And that's just the physical world. That's really the way it works. All right. Now, the essence here is balance. And this is the thing that Sue mentioned. At the winter solstice and the summer solstice, the sun essentially stays practically still for 3 days. At the spring and fall equinox, you have a point of balance. And before that, you're balanced on you're on one side. After that, you're balanced on the other side. You hit this perfect point of balance right at the spring equinox. And I think this is an analogy for the challenge we have to look at what is in balance and not in balance in our lives, and to work on coming into a greater balance. Okay.
I just spent a weekend with a lot of people who are celebrating the equinox. And, one of the interesting things that came up is that this equinox is falling between these two eclipse points. And it seems like the vibrational astrology is speaking that language.
Yeah, it is.
It feels like a teeter-totter. It does indeed. I often think
like that point where the teeter-totter balances.
Yeah. And
every year you have this shift. They have this saying that right at the point of the spring equinox that you can set an egg on its tip and it will stay there. I don't know if that works, but it kind of illustrates the concept. Okay, so let's look at this spring. Interestingly enough, Hawaii lagged behind.
I was shocked. I thought, what happened? Oh my goodness. Yes.
They actually had spring equinox on the 19th instead of the 20th. But that's okay. We love them anyway.
I was awake. I was transforming.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I wasn't awake when it happened at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'll tell you. Now, looking at the natal chart first for a theme from it, as you can see, we have something unusual. We have 5 planets conjunct each other in the natal chart right around the sun. And to look at that a little closer, you can see there we have Saturn and Neptune. Then we have the sun, and then we have Venus and Mercury. You've got several themes here. You've got clear beauty, clear communication, beautiful communication, personal responsibility, the wonder and magic of dreams. I think this is showing us some potentials. The Saturn Neptune is, the Saturn Neptune can be one of two things, folks. Saturn Neptune in transits is one of the more difficult patterns.
Yes.
It has distortion and restriction and deception potentially in it. When you can climb beyond the vibrational distortion and deception, you can get to a level of clear, radiant awareness.
I would think, as you speak, it reminds me that Saturn wants traditionally something that has been determined. There's somewhat of a legacy involved. And the problem with Neptune is it's dissolving it in a sense. I think that's
traditional interpretation.
I realize that. And I realize too that for this is more of a spiritual entry with the magic of what we think of as Neptune and the essential of Saturn. But what I'm getting at is that it's almost like it takes a while to get past what Saturn can understand to realize what Neptune wants.
Well, you have to, in vibrational astrology, we go for a deeper energy for the planets. And for Saturn, what we find this involves is getting to the true structure or foundation. And the true structure or foundation means, in a sense, the essence that is at the core of what makes something what it is.
Right. No, I feel.
And what, so the reason that Saturn by transit and in many of its experience is so difficult is because we tend to want to live on superficial levels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
And by living on superficial levels and not going down to, we get attached to all this stuff floating around.
Yeah. No,
we get attached to it. And then Saturn says, that stuff floating around, it doesn't matter. And we go, ow.
Exactly. And thank you for expressing it that way. And just to conclude, it is, I meant by dissolving, it was just, it takes time for Saturn to understand what is going to be about Neptune, I guess. But yes, that's well said.
You know, and David talks about Aries wanting to be uncomplicated. That is one of the natures of Aries. How do you feel that all works together with this pattern, Linda?
Excuse me. There's an interesting balance here. The sun is at 0 of Aries. We've got the Mercury, Venus in Aries, and we've got the Saturn, Neptune in Pisces. And Aries is kind of just a simple expression of what I feel inside of me. Mm-hmm. And I want to go out and do this, or I want to go out and do that. And Aries just goes and does it. The Saturn, Neptune in Pisces is representing, it seems to me, in this particular chart, with the way it's set up, is representing the universal awareness, the universal sea of awareness, out of which this simple individuality rises.
Makes sense.
I like it.
So
absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Now, one of the things this shows is one of the things I've done here is I've put in for some of these patterns, I've put in the structures in space sign pattern to go over here just to comment. Without going into more depth with it, we have learned that the Fibonacci series, remember that's the 0 plus 1 is 1, and 1 plus 1 is 2, and 1 plus 2 is 3, and so on. This particular series of numbers, it's so fundamental in life that becomes the golden mean. And we have found that this provides like a Rosetta Stone for how you can combine the signs of the zodiac in an astrological pattern and find out the strategy that will be most effective to express that pattern. Okay, so going back here, this particular pattern is cardinal energy. Isn't that interesting that it comes out to cardinal energy, folks?
Yes.
So
with that Pisces, yes.
We need to, so this is about needing to build something new. Cardinal energy is about a new beginning, building something new, a new pattern in this springtime energy. And it's going to have this Saturn-Neptune base in fundamental spiritual truth. It's going to be expressed in some beautiful ways. This is the potential, folks, when you can move beyond the yuck. Okay, now, the main thing, I've got two areas today, and the first one is to talk about an underlying theme that is permeated through the spring equinox chart. It's really amazing, folks. And it's actually, you see the foundation for this theme here in vibration 45. Now, vibration 45 is 9 times 5. 9 is about the associations, the community that we connect in with that really has meaning for us. 5 is about working in an interactive, creative way to come to a better understanding of that community, to contribute what we have to the growth and development of that community. Community is a difficult word for this. That grouping, we all have groups that we are closely connected in, where we have links and ties with other people. These are the groups we're talking about here. And to work creatively within those groups to help them to work better. Now,
also organically, I would say, that organic energy of connection to community. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can immediately relate as I scan through my mind of the communities. Yes, excellent.
Okay, so I want to show you this real quick. I'm going to go through this quickly, and then I'm going to come back. This is the first phase of this connection, forming a conjunction. This is see that same pattern. This is that second phase. The moon drops out, Venus comes in. And then this is the third phase.
Wow.
And the ones that are circled in blue. And in this case, Mars-Uranus drops out and Moon-Pluto comes in. So let's go back and talk about this in more depth. But I just wanted to give you a picture of how right here, it's all there. It forms a series of very strong conjunctions. We call these fractal patterns within the chart when we have these patterns that, so for example, here, this is the first one. Now that's still in 45, with that being the Jupiter conjuncts the Mars, Uranus, Moon in 90. And here you see it. Jupiter, Mars, Uranus, Moon. This is the first phase. This is in 90. 90 is about working in the communities that we are a part of and seeking to operate in interactive, exploratory ways that allow us to expand the organic nature of the community, that allow us to bring things into different kinds of relationships to each other. And in the process of that, our community becomes more effective and it grows. Now, remember I talked about the cis patterns. Well, this is very interesting. First of all, this is the planets Mars, Uranus, Moon, and Jupiter. Moon and Jupiter are about emotional expansion. Mars, Uranus is about sudden actions in the moment based on your sense of the unfolding pattern. And one of the things with Mars, Uranus is that depending on how well you're tuned in, you may get the pattern clear or distorted. And so what we have here is spontaneous expansion through emotional expression. This is step one of this process that we need to go through in the spring. Now, This is the one that carries Aries. Aries combined with cardinal energy and with Virgo. The Virgo is very important. So the Aries is saying, this is what I feel, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to go out and do something new and different. That's the cardinal part. I'm going to start something new. We are getting a lot of messages about starting something new in the spring. The Virgo says, look at the universal patterns and use them as a guide in the process. It's not just you, folks.
Yeah, as a guide. That's good. The path.
So, go ahead.
Also about, trying to return to a place of perfection, or having the concept of setting steps in order to return to a place of perfection.
Yeah, I would just, Virgo is about trying to get closer to the underlying universal essence of whatever pattern you're working with. And you could say that's getting closer to perfection. I'm always leery of the word perfection.
It makes me with vibrational 11 that's never satisfied.
Yeah. The problem with perfection is once you get to perfection, you're dead.
Yeah, it's changing, just like
you have to move
on that
greater evolution. And
something.
And so Virgo is about moving out into a greater expression of the universal beauty that underlies the physical world.
But thankfully Virgo offers a lot of tools, I think, with
it's about Virgo is one of the ones that senses that there is a pattern, a model that underlies the physical world that we can move toward. And in some ways, that's very simple. If you see something sitting in front of you, if you see a piece of yarn and it's got a piece that's tangled, well, you know that the pattern of fixing it is to fix the tangle and get it all smooth and more representative of itself. So this isn't a highfalutin concept, really. It's about bringing things more into their wholeness.
Which means, seriously, that the clarity that one can see it is crucial. Because if you can't see what's tangling it up, you just see it's tangled. That's a huge process. It is.
Okay, so now let's see. Why don't we go ahead and take the break before we go to Facebook?
Sure. Okay, it's a deal. We'll be right back, folks. We are with you. We have ahead. Thank you, Linda and Rob.
While we take a break from this week's edition of Talk Cosmos, let's take a look at this cycle's archetype. We're currently in the period of Aries. By leaving a cycle based upon completion, the energy of Aries sparks initiation, creating action to separate into a new cycle of life. It's a fire sign, which means it will involve great emotion. And because separation may create resistance, it also takes great courage to break away to new ways of becoming.
Talk Cosmos brings insightful conversations to awaken consciousness for the soul growth with hour-long programs. Talk Cosmos weekly programs are also available to watch live on the Talk Cosmos YouTube channel and Facebook page. While you're there, make sure you click the like and subscribe buttons so you get the full Talk Cosmos experience. Or if you'd rather listen to the show archives with audio only, the entire podcast collection since 2018 is available on most podcast carriers. And to find out about upcoming programs, sign up for the newsletter at talkcosmos.com. TalkCosmos.com. So grab your coffee, tea, or kombucha and enjoy the show.
This is Martha Norwalk. Every Sunday morning, beginning at 9 a.m., thanks in part to the Ananda Institute of Living Yoga, we cover the world of animals. This week, March 30th, it's an encore presentation. Join us to hear our last healing show with Dr. Nils Rasmussen and Sister Linda Rasmussen. Together, they took phone calls and helped listeners and their animal friends with behavior training and healing issues, and you can receive a surrogate healing just by following Linda's instructions. Martha Norwalk's Animal World, Sunday morning, 9 a.m. to noon, right here on Alternative Talk, AM 1150.
Working hard to put a smile on your face. Alternative Talk 1150.
Okay, can we quickly bring in Nate? Thank you so much. Okay, we have Linda Berry, Rob Pacitti, and myself, and these are, as you've heard, but for your own reference. But Linda has a school, the Astrology of Vibrational Energetics, which happens to be at her website, astrosleuth.org, and a new class is beginning in June. So connect with her.
Yeah, it's in May. It's the beginning of May 2025.
Oi, that's quick. It's before, then before Memorial Day weekend. Excellent. And you can find that out again if you go to astrosleuth.org or email Linda, and she has her email here. It's also
Linda at Astrological Depth. Yeah.
Yes, Linda at Astrological Depth. Or come here and look at it. And she has a free daily diary that gives a synopsis of all the different changes between planets. It's very instructional and it's free. It's just email. Plus a Sabian report that's $20, very focused on you personally, involving the new moon, the full moon, and perhaps something like the eclipses. It's well worth it. You get tremendous information. I'm scooting here so that you can talk about this upcoming conference, Fractal Cosmos, a new vibrational astrology virtual event.
We're excited about this one. This is going to be, the first. Well, it's now going to be the only exclusive vibrational astrology conference, and we've got Linda, we've got David heading up. So the leading researcher and the progenitors are going to be represented there. We're also going to have a beginner track. We see some people in the comments there commenting on the podcast as we're speaking. We'd love you to join us, and we have some great presenters. Registration is open. You can go to fractalcosmos.org and sign up today. We're very excited. Are you excited about it, Linda?
Oh my gosh. I can't wait to share with everybody. And one of the really exciting things about this is we are going to take the 4 most challenging tracks of the more technical research. And at the same time, we're going to have an event for people who want to understand this, but maybe aren't quite ready for that. So we're going to have introductory discussions as well as challenging discussions.
Very powerful, because I have a number of people that their wannabe wish list. And here you are, folks. It's reasonable. Check it out. I already joined. I'm going to be there. Mm-hmm. Here is Rob Pacitti, who's working closely with Linda, organizing this in many ways. And as you mentioned, it shows here about who he is. As we comment, I just have this, trying to go forward, a consulting author, and has his Deep Earth Astrology, and the Tarot deck will come out. Any comments, or shall I?
Yes, we just signed the new contract. We had some issues with our Chinese vendor due to some of the tariffs coming on. So we're in the process of getting so now we're working with a US vendor now. So we're working ahead and excited to get that out.
What an experience! Well, we're all excited. This is good. The double feature this year. My goodness, we get Tarot and a conference.
I think I'm going to wait till Mercury and Venus are out of retrograde to do anything else with it, to be honest.
I would recommend that. That's when, once Mercury and Venus are out of retrograde, that's when I'm sending out a big mailing on the conference.
Good clue here, folks.
Yeah.
So myself, and just to bring up the fact for Talk Cosmos, next week is going to be a different aspect of the eclipse. Is with archetypal symbols, and they look at it more metaphysically with features. And I am involved with giving a little side presentations with Elizabeth Mouchette's, and you can find that on my playlist videos featuring me. We're going to do one on the dwarf planets. They're with Neptune in Aries ignites a whole new rebirth transformational. Nothing new, but another way of looking at it. Like, really? This is one really working towards us. And if our events coming up, you can see that. And in the past, some events here that you can check out. AstroJam just did a really exciting one about the lunar and solar eclipse, more from a astro theater. Everybody was a planet, and it was spontaneous. Very exciting. Okay, so thank you for subscribing and liking. And you can go to talkcosmos.com and do that, or check this. And of course, on the YouTube, everything is available. And here's a little brief idea. So thank you very much. On to Linda.
Okay. So now, moving beyond, well, let's see, there it is. Okay, moving to phase 2. Now, what we do here is we had the moon over here. Remember, in phase 1 along, and we had the Jupiter opposite the Mars, Uranus, and moon. Now, instead of the moon, we have Venus in phase 2. We've still got this spontaneous, impulsive action here, but we have this sense of an underlying beauty and underlying attraction that holds everything together. And I would say that Venus is the attraction of the electrons for the protons, without which we would not have matter. Venus,
and this is
go for that.
Big expansion.
Yes. Venus is the attraction that everything has to everything else. Everything is connected. And maybe it's really important for us to remember that in this time when so many people are trying to disconnect us and separate us.
Unity. Yes.
We are all more connected than we are disconnected. The person with the most radically different view of the world from mine still needs to breathe this air, still needs to eat their food, still needs to have their heart beat in order for them to live. We are truly more one than our ideas. Our ideas are an illusion of separation.
Yeah, emotionally, we have the same growth process too, thinking of that moon. It's so true.
So we have, in a sense here, we still have spur of the moment action in the Uranus-Mars, but it is building a rich, beautiful essence. This is 180. 180 has the associations of people, but now we're looking at the people in those associations, and we're making closer connections. We're moving into associating with each other in a larger cultural realm, and we are changing, evolving the nature of our relationships with each other. And you know, the structures and space pattern here is just amazing. Pisces, that those things that seem to be the most disconnected are still connected to each other. With Gemini, let's go out and explore all those things that are around us. And air, which in the structures in space pattern, air is about relationship, not about mental activity. It's about us recognizing that we are related to everybody. You know, if something really bad happens to the earth, it's going to affect us all.
Yeah. And do you feel like some of these, these Uranian actions, these spontaneous disruptions will ultimately bring us together, or do you think that the Uranus is the impetus for this? Is that what you're seeing?
Well, I keep remembering, and I don't know. I can't say what's going to happen, but I keep remembering that you have to tear apart the old rickety house before you can build a new, beautiful, amazing one.
Yeah. How much astrology centers on that, whether it's Kali of India or again and again, it is this dialogue. Kabbalah too, you bring in, energy transforms. That's the beautiful thing. A rock becomes sand.
Okay, and now let's get to the third phase.
Okay.
Now, in the third phase, something really interesting happens. You lose Mars-Uranus, and instead you get Moon-Pluto.
Ooh, so we're doing the job inside.
Wow. So
the internal thinking.
The challenge is each of us needs to face, both in our culture and in ourselves, the deep root causes for our pain and our fear and our separation.
Surgery time.
To learn to expand emotionally, to embrace this rich beauty.
I like that, actually. I mean,
that's a potential.
It's interesting. It's interesting, though, at the zero Aries point, we're all the way back 360. That's just a very interesting, kind of,
zero,
way that we have
the beginning of the cycle is also 360, the end of a cycle. And they are the same.
Yeah.
And truly,
that's Spring Equinox. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's what Spring Equinox is.
The outer planets are helping us too. Besides these planets ingressing 0 degrees Aries, which is Neptune and Saturn coming up, we also have Sedna that is 0 degrees Gemini, meaning I'm only presenting that the backdrop of the cosmos consciousness is gearing also towards this, the beginning of some.
Well, right, but Sedna is digging so deep down into the underlying core patterns. It challenges us.
Yes.
To face a level of transformation that generally most of us shy away from.
And I believe exactly that. Sedna is our destiny but it isn't an immediate answer. But to answer, I think, in a bit what Rob was asking, is that somehow the settings that we're set into impel us towards transmuting, towards transforming and letting go and embracing what is truly more, whatever you call it, authentic or a deeper value of beauty that engenders the sustenance. So yeah, it is a synergetic.
Okay.
Condition.
Well, let's go ahead here then. This is that as a conjunction in 360. Being able to work with others in your greater community of associations, shifting the pattern so you address long-standing, deeply buried power patterns and move into rich, expansive beauty. And this is fundamentally mutable energy, which says we need to change our form. We need to shift to something different than what we have been by water going down into the depths of us, and Sagittarius reaching out and looking far into the distance to see the impact of our actions. Now,
and we can absolutely see the concept of long-standing power patterns having to be reset. I mean,
absolutely, that's what we're talking about
now.
Yeah. Okay, now I'll try to go through these quickly. There are some super strong quincunxes in the spring equinox. These are the two strongest quincunxes. The first one is Mercury quincunx Pluto in 165, which is a restless search for a flow of creative exploration. We need to move and need to adjust your obsessive thoughts to move them in more effective channels.
Which may not find perfection. Speaking again of the Virgonian, because 11 is like not. It's always
you always are going to need to move further.
Yeah. So
okay. The second such quincunx is the brown line going across here, and this is Moon to Pluto. It's 249. It's about a flow of energy that involves taking risks in order to make a difference in your community. And it's Moon Pluto facing the deeply buried legacy patterns that are causing disruptions in the community. Okay, now try to do this quickly because we want to get to the Sabian symbols here. All right, 11/24. This is, see this big black line here? Interestingly enough, this is the strongest 11/24, and it's also Mercury Pluto. Talk about the need to face and rework obsessive mental thoughts. Reevaluating your motive, combined with better understanding of people's needs. 16, reevaluating your motives. 17, better understanding of people's needs and people's patterns. A need to adjust your obsessive thoughts to attain a greater depth of understanding. Now, okay, I'm going to do this super quickly because I don't want to neglect the Sabian symbols. The strongest double quincunx, this is a pattern of how we can get out of here, how we can get out of this mess. To take the emotions, okay, it's 29 times 6, opening up to the ways other cultures operate, finding out what works well for them. That can help us get out of the mess here. If you're, for all cultures, all of us, opening up to how others operate. And then this is between 174 and 175. And 175, working inside of yourself, interacting, exploring, seeking to reformulate yourself in new ways. So the challenges here are to look for new ways to operate. And it's Mars, Jupiter, do it in a big way. And it can succeed. Okay, so let's look at the Sabian symbols real quick. The personality symbol is a woman and two men on a bit of sunlit land facing south, about learning to be flexible and open, seeing how you can make appropriate choices to act either in the realm of spirit or the realm of matter as appropriate. And if you cannot separate things appropriately, then you will experience competing needs within you that tend to disconnect and isolate you and feel in a sense of estrangement. Okay, so that's the personality level. The soul level is very interesting. It's 8 of Taurus, a sleigh without snow. You're seeing the unfolding of new possibilities, developing the skills and tools needed to meet future situations, or you are getting caught in your current limitations and frustrations without seeking to move beyond them. So if you will look to build for the future, you can get out of the current frustration. And the third level, the spirit wisdom, an old-fashioned 6 of Leo, an old-fashioned woman, and an up-to-date girl. You're seeking to balance tried and true patterns with new, innovative patterns, looking for the most effective and wisest course of action. Working balance again. Rather than being attached to a particular point of view and being threatened by anything that challenges it.
That's the North Node of the United States of America.
6 of Leo?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, there's a challenge we face.
Yeah, and it relates individually.
Everybody faces it this spring. Yep. Not just the United States, but it certainly does.
Oh, definitely. But I'm thinking it happens to be the United States. And of course, each of us individually, as we're part of everything. And yes, for people's awareness, it relates to both.
Okay. So this is a summary of that. I'll leave this here for a second so you can look at it as you go over the recording, the opportunities involved.
Whoops. Can you go back to it for a second for Rob and me? I mean, I was listening and jotting stuff down, but I wanted to just see it's flexible, appropriate choices, and big difference between spirit and matter, because in your head, you can have something that's spiritually right, but for the moment right on hand, it might be a little more concrete. I don't know if that really.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yet to keep in mind the potentials, not to lose sight, sort of like being in a ship. We're going to get to land, keep moving your sails.
You know, and the emphasis here in number 3 is on the most effective and wisest course of action.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And new, innovative. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, ready for the next, please.
Okay, this is the pitfalls.
Okay. Got to see the, don't fall in the chasm. You know, because it is moon, like you were saying, and Pluto, it's the past, but yet we're compulsively drawn to this. It is a matter of looking at, maybe willing to change the story emotionally, because we can have repeating themes in our head or not even see the ones that are there from the past emotionally. I would say that
if there's one thing that this is challenging us all to do, is to look at the ways we have traditionally thought, the compulsive patterns that we have carried within us, the record we keep playing over and over, and reevaluate it.
I also think that energetically, we are all feeling like chewing the almost that kind of quincunx energy between 2 and 3, to accept your limitations and to be attached to a particular point of view. You know, there's a lot of friction right now with those 2 energies internally within everyone.
Yeah, and remember, this is a pitfalls. This is getting caught.
Yeah.
Okay.
The truth is, it can be sneaky. I know that for myself, I've been really digging down, wondering, well, why? I know that this is part of my nature, perhaps, but why? Why am I doing it? Like, what is that sufficing in me? Is that something that really is supporting me, or just getting in my way? So thank you. I'm on the path. It's, I'm making my cobblestones. This little stone works.
We all have our challenges, and I think this is a challenging time for all of us. So thank you.
And just
go ahead.
Just looking back at our past Aries equinox point last year, our big question is, where is Mars in all of this? And we're seeing a lot of Mars right now, and especially in that 90 vibration. So it's going to be very interesting how we do this moving forward.
we're in a process, and really, if we're in the middle of an eclipse season, it started without knowing, and there's centerpieces, you might say, but the centerpieces are so entwined with Venus star point and Neptune that I thank you, Linda, for identifying this Aries point, that we're in the thick of it, but reach out, find our community. We have a little one here in Fractal Cosmos, folks. Remember,
yay, Fractal Cosmos.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Thank you, everybody. It's such a treat. I intend, these seasonal messages link from the past to what it is now. It's a story in its own right. I haven't taken time, but I'd like to. I love the one we're on, though. Maybe that's it. This book is good. All right.
Yeah.
Blessings. Big time. Thank you. And to all, everybody there.
Thank you for joining an insightful conversation on Talk Cosmos, the show where Sue Minahan and her panel of guests awaken consciousness by connecting soul growth patterns with astrology's energetic cycles. Be sure to tune in next week, same time, same place, to continue your journey through the roots of the cosmic pathway.